All right. So, however long it's been for you, I'm sure you had your fill and fun and laugh and cheer. We thought he had something. There's no way to do this. It's so stupid, absolute certainty. Get out of here. Look at this guy pretending like he's something. Like he knows a thing or two. Oh my god, look at this idiot. He thinks he's certain. He says there's no absolute. Very definition of saying, oh my god, I'm unreasonable and illogical right off the bat. Shut up. Be quiet. Sit down. Class is back in session. Because that's what we're doing. It's time to talk about the final kind of shebang, to a certain degree, about why particles are what they are. And then we'll get to membranes, and then you'll understand a little better from there about quantum thermodynamics. Real quantum thermodynamics, not garbage shit faces that believe they came up with quantum thermodynamics. And they're the authority on quantum thermodynamics. And everything I say is wrong, somehow. As if it's not an emerging field of science and study. Ooh. Shut up. Sit down. Get rid of the fucking ego. Alright. So, we're at the... Oh my god, this thing hurts. Oh man. I hate all of this. This is so rough. It's actually really rough to conceptualize this. I'm not kidding. We're not in any way to the point where we're even near the real hard stuff that I'm having problems with. So imagine where you're at. It's like it has absolute certainty. Yeah, but it's pressure. There's a vacuum. Where does the vacuum go to? It's not non-existence. No, it's not. It's not deleting it. And unfortunately, there's no space technically because you know how engineers like to say glass is always full? There's still air there. So it's less dense. That's what a vacuum means, yeah. You're getting there. Don't worry. It takes a while. It's really quite hard to conceptualize what the heck that is and what it means and all that it can entail. So let's break it down a little better. I finally got you there at the last second. The hurrah of hurrahs. He might be onto something. Eureka moment. And yeah, all the way along, had to bite your tongue and pretend and not skip forward. And if you skip forward, you got angry and you said it couldn't possibly, and that's stupid. And then you went through it, and then you finally realized your mistakes, of what you think, what you feel could be logical and reasonable. So, this is where quantum thermodynamics comes into play. And quantum wave fluctuations, which are really just oscillative fucking densities. In the ocean we are in. Which we're in a very little, tiny little bubble of steam, almost, I guess. Steam is not necessarily steam, but as far as we're concerned, it's as little density as difference, I suppose, as what we came from. Because you got to remember, nothingness is not at all dense. And I'm like, well, that's because you're stupid and you're thinking about it like that. Sorry, you're probably not. But because you're hanging on to that idea, it's what makes you stupid. You have to remove it. That's why I keep saying shit like that. It really hurts, usually, to do it. The hole sucks. The hole sucks. I don't want to think about it. And I'm like, well, go down. Go into the hole. It's okay. Go into the hole. It's gonna be okay. And we'll get there. And I'll describe exactly what that means later. But right now, we want to know why it is less dense, and an already less dense, than what you originally came from does anything. And oh my god, you just figured it out, because I just said it. That's right. It's less dense. So it has potential to move something. That's potential energy. That's quantum thermodynamics. Quantum thermodynamics. In a fluid, it's the Lemke variety. Unfortunately, we're talking about Lemke quantum thermodynamics, which still has quantum Lemke laws, which we have to use those words because Newton's gone. Lemke came up with it. That's right, me. That's my last name. Suck it hard. Because that's what you're always doing as a particle anyways. And it's the only thing that keeps you alive, remember? And I mean that. Now, it's not going into another dimension. We're not deleting anything. We're making the absence of something make movement occur that allows for supportive field, quotation mark field, balls. That's what we're made out of. But you're talking about what is in every way an ultra dense thing, right? Because it's absolutely certain there's no fields. Can there be? And it's like, that's why I wanted to wait for another version, of the podcast. One more. Because it's like, this is going to be a long one. It hurts to talk about it, because that one's the easy versus the quantum, vacuum area. That one's really quite a bit easier. Mathematically speaking, and conceptually speaking, that is. It pretty much stops, and then you're going, oh, good, thank goodness, I don't have to keep going. It's done. So, let's think about it real quick. Let us imagine what less dense means. Because we're converting it. What is conversion? We are taking energy from something, meaning there's less there. Now, what does less there mean? Loop. Check some error. You're going to have to think about it a little differently. Okay? Work with me here. You're going to need to work with me. So, and right there, the let go and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. Oscillations have occurred. That's right, we got oscillations. There's a breath. How does it do that? It expanded. How did it expand? How did it contract? Yes. how it does do things like this. And now we're getting into absolute certainty conversion principles. These are extraordinarily profound, obtuse, in no way, simplistic laws and algorithms that might as well be as normal and everyday around you as you could think. That's why I like them. They're done and they're over. Absolute certainty breaks down extremely easily. The very fact that there's less dense than a dense creates an ever-expanding, greater degree of infinite potential certainty. That's right. Sorry, it's an infinite certainty. It's absolute. There is no way to get around it. But what does it do to convert? Is it breaking the fluctuations of the pressures of the density? Is that what it is? Yeah, no. Unfortunately, that would have been all too easy. There's no spin. I wish it would have been even simpler. I have to actually think for you for a second. So, let's talk about this. Real quick like. Because I brought up the question, what does less dense mean? And it's the absence of something. But the absence of something, what is the absence of anything in a pretty much really, really dense thing to begin with? And it's like, exactly. No, it's not the absence of something. Don't scream and yell, please. I'll do that for you. If they said something incorrect that should be shouted at. They're right. What is that? What the heck is the idea and concept of the absence of something? Before, we used to think it was the straight line fields of the density that we're in. So what is that? And he's breaking it down. Ah, yes. My old friend. Ouch. Ripping stuff apart. The fraying of liquids. The spins are gone, though. There's no lines. No dimensions, and there's certainly no deletions. You can't do that. There's no higher point for it to get to. And it can't really get more dense. Otherwise it exists below. The non-existent line. That's right. The gray existent potential and non-existent. It would have to exist below that. Because that's close enough to nothingness that it could do something. And it can't be there because it doesn't wrap around. So what the hell does it do? Yeah, so basically it gets sprayed and pelted in the face all the time with essentially coronomass ejections, if you want to imagine it in a reverse. I'm not kidding. That's effectively what it does. It's a thing that's effectively held together in a really, really fuck you state. That's essentially a ball that eats essentially what it is that it's doing, but it can't really eat it, so what do you think it does? It takes it on the chin and it flings another part off somewhere else, creating pressure. But it can't really do that, and it can't always be kind of doing that. So it also happens to have the density that it is a part of, still attached. So it can't really always be doing that either, because then you have wrapped field lines and weird, spinny, oscillative pressure areas, and so a little corona mass ejection exists in a wrapped around bullshitty wave thing that is still just in a less dense kind of area that gets smacked into it. Really kind of rough. It's kind of really rough. If you ever imagine yourself being a particle, it's not exactly the most pleasant experience, except that's not the full story. Because it has to be extremely hard and dense. And it still needs to move. And just because it has less density doesn't necessarily mean it has less density when it's doing that. Even with all the dimensions and everything else. That is but one part of the story. Now, describing this becomes a complicated endeavor, but we're getting there. Yeah. And this is why I wanted to make a whole brand new podcast. It is a hard thing to describe because there's no spin anymore. There can't be spin. It's locked, certain for what it is. Momentum, it doesn't have it for good momentum. It can't have it. It can exist with momentum around it, but it can never itself have it at all. How does something gain momentum to fling something anywhere? How does it move? What the hell is going on? Do you even know what you're saying? Oh my god! Uh-oh. And it's like, I think we might be onto something for some of you that are out there that are intelligent enough to think for themselves and maybe conceptualize it. We're almost there. I'm not kidding. You see, in every way, it can't move. Absolute certainty means it never moved from where it started, potentiating its effect greater and greater and greater. Every particle is connected to but one instance of creation. It proves the existence of the Big Bang, or as I like to call it, the flume. It's a Lemke flume. It started making things more and more and more certain in all the directions it could ever possibly try and make it more and more certainly there. It is as rock steady, stable, not gonna move no matter how hard you try. It is there, and that is it. It's not doing anything else. It is certain. And every fucking thing we are is just pretending it's not that, practically. It's on its way away from it. It pushed it out, but not really if you think about it. I know, right? Mind-blowing mindfuck. But not really. Total logical, reasonable sense. You have to think about it really well, though. It's a single point where certainty came in. Perfect certainty. Infinite certainty. Whereas the zero, but infinite uncertainty was there because it is basically what I like to describe that thing as. It's a zero. Is it nothing? Is nothingness? It's not chaotic. I know that shit. It's certainly not. It certainly is. The fuck? And yeah, I'll get to that later. I have to describe it a lot better because that was a piss poor explanation, mathematically speaking. And it takes a lot more than that to get anywhere near it. But now you know why a universe is formed. You see, because of certainty, it immediately needs to effectively form. It's a good way to put this. Whatever it can, and whatever it can to stay there. And just like nothingness, which is in quantum thermodynamics, has a nothingness at its base that is infinite and really annoying to some in math. Absolute infinity certainty is also really annoying in fuck you levels of math. And so what does it do? Unlike nothingness of wanting to create all the things, to fill it the hell up and not be there because I'm nothing. I can't exist. First off, I'm not a thing. How am I the only, what the hell? So that's its physics, which I can describe later. Certainty is essentially the opposite. Get the hell away. Go away from me. I don't want any of you around ever. Shoo! I'm certain of it. You're not me, you assholes. And, how does that work? How does it do that? Does it feel to blah, blah, blah? Shut up. Get out of here. Shut the fuck up. I mean it. You disruptive student. Be quiet. I just said, take your stupid ideas and throw them out. You need to remove your dumb egos and your fucking ids and your super egos and all the rest of it. You're fucking idiots. They got lied to believe in something, and you defend it too hard. And it made it so you couldn't see what was always in front of you to begin with. So, absolute certainty is a really annoying thing and wants to push things away. But it can't really necessarily do that. In fact, there's no way for it to ever have done that, if you really think about it. And there you go. He's got it. Quantum thermodynamics dictates it basically constantly eats shit to make things go away. It's converting. It's a converter. That's all it does. It converts. It eats the hell out of shit. That's all it will do. It will eat. But it doesn't go somewhere. No. I wish. It removes jiggle. It removes wiggle. For it to stay put, it must do this. For it to get rid of spin, it must also do that. To remove it, it must do it. To stay still, it has to remove. It is essentially the best dampening bullshit thing ever created. It's literally all it does. All particles are but one real particle, technically. All things are but one absolutely certain, hyper-dampening, brilliant thing that makes anything live. It all exists off of that fucker. It supports all of it. And I mean that. If it never existed ever, nothing would ever do anything at all. And this is where we're going to get into membranes. And finally, we're going to get into why it is that there is no end to the universe. In fact, there will be many more and more. Finally got you there. Told you I'd get you there. I'll lead you to that water and you'll drink. No worries. You think I'm a cult follower? I'm the cult leader. Drink the Kool-Aid. You're going to want it. It helps the fucking medicine go down easier. Because you need to expand your mind, man. Alright? We're almost there. Now, why does it do this? Why? How? How does it make a certain point? Like, what? You gotta get there somehow. And like, this one's a bit rough to talk about. But it's not too hard to conceptualize. There's no springs, there's no compression, there's none of that, in fact, at all. You see, the very formation and start of a certain point means it started using the fields and potential land and extra-dimensional area high energies essentially as its plaything. Yeah, I know. Shitty, right? And it makes itself ever denser. Then there's a point where the beginning of a universe starts to think it might exist. Because it spreads out a ever softening, less wiggled, less vibrated, stiller and stiller area around it. Until, there's just enough for the dimensions to do their thing. Dunk, woom. And that dunk, woom is to describe, wow, there's not anything here. I'm pretty sure there isn't. Seems like there isn't. I guess I can come in. And it falls towards, nom 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 nom, gimme. And the boom, the density that we are, suddenly springs forth because there's a even less dense area, higher dimensionally speaking. And expansion can form. That's right. It's a weird one. Now, I had to describe that for you before I could get to why the hell does it do that? How the hell does it do that? And is it infinitely dense? No. No density. It's kind of a weird one. It's not a nothingness, unfortunately. And it's not a destruction. I keep telling you, you gotta throw these things out. But it's very tempting to go towards that. That's why I have to keep saying it over and 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 fucking over again. Takes a really long time to kind of get you to really break those barriers. I want to resist you and go with it, going into these other ideas you have. Because I'm like, been there, done that. It doesn't wrap around, unfortunately. It was mathematically illogical and unreasonable. Because it wouldn't want to use it to fill itself up, so it can't do that. It's never going to allow it to come back in, remember? That's mathematically logical and reasonable. I cannot remove that part, so sorry. So, how does it do the thing that we don't even understand how the other thing does its thing? The heck is this? What is even absolute certainty? Does it manage to make itself infinite? And it's like, oh, here we go again. You know, we're always playing around with the infinites, right? And I'll get you in a bit of a secret. is not infinite, and nothingness technically isn't either, even though it's infinite. It really, on a technicality, is only that. You know what I mean? This one's more of a, on a technicality, it has a 0. I know. On a technicality, it has a 0. It's such a fuck you. Is how you describe it. But it's not really doing that. You know what I mean? It's like, conceptualize it. It technically has a 0, but it's not. It's on a technicality, there's a 0, but there's no 0. It definitely doesn't have one. There's no 0 out point. Sorry. It for sure is certainly moving. It for sure is certainly there. It has all the certainty. Ah, exactly. You finally figured out why in the world this works. You see, it's a weird one. You have to be counterintuitive with things. So it's as certain could ever be certain. And there's no way of getting around that certainty. How the hell does it certainly make a 0? Bingo. He's got it in 1. It's certainly got a 0. Boom! Suck it up. Right off the bat, illogical and unreasonable to assume it doesn't have one and it doesn't work because of that. Because it's infinitely certain. So it has an infinite fucking certainty of not. But it's not there. It can't be there. See what I'm saying? That's why to describe this and to describe that becomes real annoying. Technicalities, you know? Technicalities. Infinites. Ay, ay, ay. I'm not kidding. Mathematically, concepts are real annoying stuff, you know? So we're going to get to how it has to do this, utilizing the best methodology we have, which is called logic and reason. Okay? So, it has to always, and I mean always, and I mean always. So stop. It's an infinite always. It doesn't do something else. So shut up. Effectively be more and more ever encompassing, just like the technicality of the 0 that has no infinity, but it does, and that's the technicality it works with. This itself is actually technically not ever not infinite. You get it? It never really needed to get there, though. It just needed to make a potential wave function be infinite in terms of its continuation. That's right. It's immortal. That's the definition of real immortality. That's what it is. It made all of the bullshit that is the potential land and everything else that was trying to get into it infinitely always continue. Making ever and ever greater and greater amounts of fucking waves and spins and bullshit to hold itself still. More and 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 more. It's literally its job. I'm not even kidding. But it's like it's gonna wrap around with something and fuck around with it, and I'm like, yeah, making it more and more certainly where it is, all the time, every time, forever. But it'll always be exactly where it is, forever, always. That's it. But that means it's not certain where it's at. Nope. Incorrect. It made an infinite projection of infinite proportion probability shit. It's literally what it does. It is certainly always where it's at, forever infinitely. And it expands all the infinite technicality bullshit energy a zero has to do it. One literally create that literally always is first to be alive to sustain it. It'll never go away. That's the infinite problem, because it's infinitely not there. But it's definitely right there. That's the point. Nothing. But on a technicality, it's got an infinite. Infinitely, never-endingly, always gonna not be there. More and more and more and more and more and more and more. Fucking goddamn it. And so that's why technicalities are in mathematics now. That's why potentials are in mathematics now. That's why I describe the things I do, and that's why it's wicked what they say. It's normal. It's logical. It's reasonable. You don't even need one only 0 point. You can have an infinite amount of them, or a finite. It wouldn't matter. That's why the idea of dimensions here exists quite well and very, very, very juicily, steadily, always there, forever a thing. That's why fluid dynamics and neural networks are always going to be a thing. The predictive analysis is always going to be a thing. The fucking Lemke theories and laws are always going to be a thing. The pressures, the oscillations, the reverberations, and all of it. It is a chaotic maelstrom of bullshit. But the best way to think about it is honestly in a dimensional ball capacity for you folks. I'm not kidding. A dimensional ball is probably the easiest way to conceptualize the infinity that is that we exist inside of. That is ever expandingly outwards and inwards. Always growing. Always trying to get rid of itself, always trying to extend itself. Chasing after one another for as long as they can keep going. The physics are very, very good for this, but I want to describe why the technicality of infinities exist here, because they're technically not there and they technically are there. They're one and the same infinity, but they don't exist. You see what I'm saying? If you take any concept like a universe, you put us inside of it, and then you say we're the center, and then you move the center somewhere else. Because it's so mind-bogglingly large to most of us, that's true. It is certainly the center. It is also not true. You're certainly not. On a technicality, right and wrong are both right and wrong. And you have to know what the hell that means. So it's absolutely certain. But is it? And it's like, yeah. started because it was absolutely certain. All of them do. There is no way to get around that. But that's why less dense areas exist. And now, where the hell does that go? What the hell does that mean? Because we have to describe this before we can ever go towards nothingness. That one will break you, probably. We'll get there, though. See, in its infinite bullshit of certainty, it makes that zero. Now, what does that zero really mean? Anyone? This is why I'm like, quantum law. We're talking about universal law now. You take two brackets, perfect straight lines, and you put in, certainty, absolute. But asterisk, zero. Yeah. Now, what is an asterisk in math? What do you use for a symbol for technicality? Like, for real. What does a technicality mean to us? And there is no technicality symbol. I had to create one. I'm not kidding. I had to create a technicality symbol to run my math. Because there's no technicality symbol from what I've ever heard of in my life. So I made my own. Because who gives a shit about theta, epsilon, whatever the fuck? They're all dumb. Doesn't work. They're not things. I had to make my own. So, I looked around because I'm like, the fuck is a technicality? And it's like an imitation that makes itself so fucking close to the real thing, but it's cheap. And it isn't. So, I had to go, what the fuck? I'm not kidding. The hell does that mean in symbol? For a long time, I really thought about this. This took me a while. Because this is a big move. It's a mathematical term now. Same thing with potentials. Same thing with more. Because potentials aren't P no more. Non-existence is a thing too. And zero had to be described in a way that is not zero. Nothingness. But on a technicality, it exists. You remember 0 divided by nothing? I'm just waving away. I had to do that. 0 divided by nothing. But see, that doesn't work. See what I'm saying? How does one program that? And you definitely want it to be something. You need it to be something that you can look at. And this actually is more important than you might expect. It's not just, what the hell does this mean mathematically and we have to write it and all that. This is the definition of, oh goodness gracious, wait a second. These are bigger deals than you might expect. They call to these bigger, outward bound, what we are made out of stuff. And they will reverberate, affect things. Time will happen. And it will reframe our very perspective, profoundly moving forward for all of history and time, for however long we exist as humans, and never use it still. If they ever figure out that they're not smart enough to get away with not conceptualizing it this way, and they'll never get out. Well, not that they'll ever get out, really, anyways. But you get the picture. So, what is the certainty symbol? Ugh. Sheesh. Isn't that one weird, isn't it? I ended up going with a double clover and a circle. A double clover? What? 4? Yeah. 4 leaf. Except then a 4 leaf that fits inside of the 4 leaf. Except it's not really a leaf and it's in a circle. Wait, what? What? Which, if you don't know, kind of hard to do with small little tiny pixels. So I gave up on that. But that's kind of what the actual mathematical symbol is. And I went with, it's a dot in the center. Because that's exactly what it looks like. That's what the absolute certainty area looks like. It's a bunch of rotating fields, like we imagine our stars to be, with a central core that rotates ever fucking more fields that are even denser, that are balanced in the idea of what is essentially electromagnetic or magnetic, just permanent magnet, planetary gear setup towards the center, which is not an axle anymore. It's a very, very certain area. Very certain. Extremely there. Infinitely always there. Like, literally. To put it in perspective, it's the definition of what you probably would never want to be. Because it meant for sure, it certained itself into never reacting, never being, never not being. A lot of dumb shit. It's really annoying. I hate this fucking concept. In the sense that I hate how simplistic and easy it is to imagine. Because if you look at it, if you think, oh, it's going infinitely denser inwards towards the nothing. Nope. It's infinitely denser and filled. Nope. It's infinitely less dense. Nope. That's the problem with the... Wow, I have to come up with a technicality symbol. Let me get this going. So, what is a technicality? That one became a real shithead kind of thing to think about for a while. Really? Yeah, because only shitheads ever use it. On a technicality, you won. Whatever. It's only because my shoelace was untied. Apparently, I can't win running across the line if my shoelace is untied. What? That was well before that. You were not... What, did everybody have their shit? You were the last one in line. What the fuck? How did you fucking win? I know, in technicality, they do. But there are good ones and there are bad ones. This one's actually a good one, and so is the 0. That's kind of what that is. So, I had to figure out how to make a technicality symbol. And the technicality symbol is a very, 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 very one-dimensional kind of thing. Seems like to some, but that's their connotation of the word. Concept, social stuff, blah blah blah. Leave it alone. So it's like, what is it that we can really think about for technicality? Because it's on the rules, this exists. And I don't care what your thoughts and feelings are, and fairness and judgment, blah, blah, blah. It's there. Suck it up. You lost. Because you didn't tie your shoelaces. Suck it up. Yeah, real brutal, unfortunately. It's being extraordinarily pedantic. And that's why we usually hate technicalities. They're really annoying. Annoying things. So I had to come up with a really good symbol to symbolize something that is actually not annoying. It's beautiful and wonderful that it exists, because if it didn't, we would be fucked in all the ways. And so, I used something a bit odd. I went with, uh-oh. No, technicality, I guess, fine. It's a circle with a bunch of lines heading towards the center. An asterisk with a circle around it, which is an asshole. That's right. And then I got rid of it so fast I couldn't do it. I kept snickering about it. And I kept having people fucking complain in my own head, too. I was like, no, I'm not making it a fucking asshole. I can't do it. Sorry. And so I scrapped that one so fast. So fast. You don't even want to know. I literally deleted that. It's gone. So, what is it that we can use? And I kept thinking and 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 it came to me. A circle with a line and another circle. So I'm going to describe this real easy. One part of the circle is over the line, and you see a little bit of the white or black background shining in between the circle, circumference line, and the line that is inside. And the other one, which is the circle looks like it's further along, but it's really just a little bump on the line. It never made it across the line. Yeah, that's right. Technicality. That's what a technicality symbol is. You write it one vertical line. You have an empty circle that goes over the line, and then one that is just a bump. It doesn't have to be filled in. It's basically just a circle that's a part of the line. Like a D that has at the top of the D letter a B that actually goes over the other part of the vertical line. So the symbol is technicality. That's what a technicality is. Now, potential and non-existence are very different things, and so is existence. So, existence and technicalities, kind of rough. Because a non-potential does exist in the non-existent. But technically, on a technicality, it's there. I know, right? Sucky. Gotta do it, though. So, we're going to get to that, though, because we want to go with potential and non-existent, and I'm getting tired. You can probably tell in my voice, and we're getting towards the end, and I'm going to have to tell you, I'm going to pick this up again with one final podcast. And I'm probably going to go to bed after that. Because I've been up all night. And I should not have been. So, we're going to talk about how potential cannot be P, or PT, or any other fucking stupid thing. Get out of here. There's no letter symbols. We're making real symbols. Not some stupid alpha whatever garbage crap. I don't care. That's your quantum physics that broke down when I made the Lemke zone. So, how do we make potential as a symbol? And yeah, you probably got it in one. It's a ball at the top, or a circle more specifically, of a triangle that's lopsided. Now, you have to wait, because depending on what it is that we're talking about, the left or the right here is different types of potential. Right side, that's right, you got it. That's existent potential. Left side, the ball is traveling down, non-existent potential. In the middle, at the top, where it's at, when you write it like that, is the gray hole, non-existent and existent area that it exists in. I know, weird, right? That's how you write the potential symbols. Pretty understandable. Now, rough, I know, because effectively it removes us having language. It's a picture medium that describes concepts extraordinarily well, by the way. Absolute certainty. Yeah, it sure looks like that, huh? Technicality? Yeah, sure does. And infinity? Yeah, whatevs. Yeah, as if you guys don't use it. Now we're in potential land. Now we got our balls falling on one side or the other. We're staying ever so perilously balanced on the tip of a triangle. Or rolling off into existence or non-existence. But still potential. Because what do we view for ourselves as humans? As potential. Energy. Gravitational potential. But not really. It's also heading towards a nucleus potential. Like nuclear forces or electromagnetic. It's potential. We literally will understand that for a real long time. Now, owie ow, ooh ooh ooh, infinity. Technicality symbol though, comes before it, kind of have to deal with it. Zero. Now you have the equation for the base of all universes. That is the equation I ran with for all my math. That is everything we are for quantum thermodynamics. The rest of the math is pretty simple, and truthfully, it's also pretty hard. But also it's not. When you use this concept of reality, fluid dynamics gets real easy. Neural networks become real simple. And in fact, most of it is pretty easy enough to think about. But I never got to the other stuff. And that's why we have another podcast coming. Woo! Bye.